All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Team Swain Baddy Overwatch League. I'm AJ0. I'm here with 30. Totes McGoat's going to win a match tonight.
Oh, whoa. Tonight, negative. But will they win a match this season? Yes.
Those are fighting words. There's a
Yeah,
whole
no,
body pillow out there that ain't going to be happy with that one.
hey, dude, I didn't say it was them.
You
That's the
did.
thing.
You did, 30.
Oh, I didn't though.
Yeah,
Keep
you
your
did.
eyes peeled.
This is 2019 America, and I can finish the sentence. I know what you meant. Doesn't matter what you said.
True.
357 body pillow, clip this, hang it on your wall, use it as motivation, tear it down and throw it in the trash when you get 3-0'd. But they're not in this game. No, the other team is Fine Dining and Breathing, who are on a pretty nice winning streak ever since they figured out fuck running 2-2-2. They've won 4 straight matches, only dropping one map that whole time. And the last time they dropped the map actually was to this same team, Totes McGoats, in week 3, which was a 2-1 win for FDAB. But they have made Overwatch fun to watch. FDAB is finally the team that's playing like a baddie team that I've always wanted to see, where they just screw most of the meta, run a bunch of people on DPS. Tanks are just playing as disruptors, and hope they outplay.
Yeah, exactly. FDAB, very, very fun to watch. And a stylistic matchup that I think they're gonna really prefer today, assuming Toast McGoats runs goats again.
Yeah, that's we'll see about that. I'm always rooting against the goats. Not gonna lie about that.
Well, actually, I'm rooting for it in the BOL because I think there needs to be one team that does it, and hopefully they can do it well, which is forces other people to be creative and learn how to counter it. Depending on really how good the goats is going to be.
Well, we don't know what they're running quite yet. They're hovering. They could swap if they're going to do this dive or not. But on the defense, we've got FDAB, and they are going with that solo heal composition. So Cuban Pete on the Mercy is going to be responsible for everyone. They've got a lot of hit scan. They've got a single tank. This is it. You played this in quick play. Now you're seeing it in the BOL. And this is going to be a really hard composition to run dive into. Or sorry, this is going to be really hard for FDAB, because the dive is going to be very effective at taking out that one Mercy and then picking apart everything else.
Yeah, very true. I mean, really, any target. They just pick whoever's closest to them, and they could probably dive them and kill them. And we're actually seeing, Josh Dangle Virtual Riot not on Roadhog this week, so he's on Soldier. We'll see how he does there. Whack to Backy, going in a little too deep though, because he gets purpled and taken out though. But Josh Dangle on the return kill. 5v6, make it a 5v4.
Ooh! Big shot on Crystallize. Evens things up 4v4 as the tanks are going in. UTech is up high. BSRK is up high. Cuban Pete is kind of making his way back. And I thought this looked really good, really free for Totes McGoats. But Evil, like 1, 2, 3 kills on the Pharah. And it's FDAB being forced out of this first point.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really back and forth, and all of those back and forth kills are actually favoring the attacker here on Anubis A, but it's Evil Light in the air, uncontested, who comes in late and cleans it up. So Chromatic, I think he just switched over to the Sombra.
Yes,
which already was just on.
Okay, thanks. Also switched over to the Widowmaker. So no more Tracer Genji, but they do have everything else is the same. As Dano actually already has a nano boost available here. In just a second, and there we go. The kill on the Crystallize. What the hell happens?
Oh, but it should get res though, so not actually a big deal for right now. And Toes McGoats are just looking for a way to get into this point here. Okay, Thanks is pinned up here at the top of the bridge. Wacky to back, he's putting quite a lot of pressure on him. But Crystallize goes down again. No res available, so Toes McGoats having a really good opening here.
Yeah, 2 of the 4 DPS down. Now we see Wacky Tabaki really trying to hammer on this pressure. Totes McGoats is playing this very timid, but they're finally making their way out of the point. The tanks are starting to jump in. We've got a Valkyrie coming out of Cuban Pete, but there's another DPS down. Now Cuban Pete goes down while he's in Valkyrie. This should be the end for Totes McGoats on this point, as Wacky and Evil Light both go down. I don't think anyone's going to touch this point. smartly give this one over.
Yeah, nicely done by Toads McGoats, and Evil Light was still kind of uncontested there, but basically he just had to play out of the line of sight of the Widowmaker the entire time, which really, he couldn't really do anything there as Pharah, so just the pressure of having Widow was enough, and they do have Nano and Transcendence, and whoa, actually, they're gonna have 5 ultimates. This might be a snowball.
Yeah, this is, and no Valkyrie available, and no Dirty Dan available, and that's it.
Oh my god, that's
Ghost
huge.
is going to rush on this point. They do get that res off, but EMP and Transcendence actually comes out fairly early. They want to neutralize this ult out of Virtual Riot, but 3 members of FDAB go down nice and early. Wacky to back, he's trying to save the day with the minefield, but he's lost his entire damn team in the process. He still does manage to take out 2, and he's buying a lot of time. Respawns are going to be coming through, and these are going to be stall picks coming through from Wacky to Backy, but we've got to take over. And somebody from Toads McGoats, you need to stand on this point because this stall pick's coming through. Every percentage is going to count here as almost the entire team of FDAB makes it back onto this point. These tanks, though, are not taking quite enough damage to die. Utah has just got a sliver of health, but he's holding on here, and everyone is being staggered here for FDAB. This is maybe looking good. As Utek is trying his damnedest to just solo carry, he's forcing a lot of people off at this point. Wacky Tabaki, though, has made it back out, and that's going to be a big, big stall pick for FDAB here, as this is now turning into a very split fight again. But, oh, big hook out of Dano.
Wow, okay, this is quite a long fight, but it will be FDAB eventually coming through there. But for a while, Toast McGoats, they were still winning a lot of the kills, and not a lot were dying there. A lot of clutch individual plays out of Toast McGoats. They do get a tick on the board, though, so it is something.
You know, if they hadn't stepped off the point there, that would have been 2 ticks.
I believe so, yeah.
I'm not sure what happens that flipped that plan in FDAB's favor. That looked like it was game over for Toast McGoats.
It was a lot of good stalling, it looks like. I mean, Wacky Tabaki on this ball is just so uncatchable sometimes, and someone was on the May, I forget who it was actually, but that was very effective. Oh, Crystallize, he's still on the May.
He's still on it because he's got a Blizzard coming in. Yeah, there's some nice ults available here going into this next fight for FDAB, but Chromatic almost has EMP available, so this could be another explosive fight.
Oh yeah, I wonder if Toast McGoats is gonna use anything here. Dirty Dan channels the tire. It's going into the back of an aggressive Blizzard to block off Darkroom choke here. Chromatic from behind goes for the EMP, but only locking up 2 members. And yeah, Virtual Riot with the whole hawk to finish that one off. Toast McGoats losing the fight out there, but they only invested 1 ult. Or 2.
2. EMP is being the big one.
Yeah. Unfortunate there, but maybe needed. They baited out a couple more, I think, at the end there, so.
Yeah, they're not going to be pushing into a whole lot of ults with this next one. Although they don't have too big of ults themselves, but they will have more.
Likely combo here from FDAB is obviously going to be the Nano ball here. Wacky going in. He can be so aggressive, he gets Nano, and then he can lay the mines in at the very end of the fight to cut it off. And he goes in. There he is. He goes and knocks everyone up.
Oh man.
Nano not used, but the mines are gonna be enough to secure this fight.
Yeah, Chromatic got picked out. Nice spy checking out a Crystallize while that was going on, setting up a flank, so there was nothing there for Toast McGoats. And just like that, we're down to only 2 minutes remaining. This has been a very slow tempo game.
Yeah, it has. Not a lot of. Well, I guess right then that was a pretty quick and decisive fight, but up until then, some pretty slow approaches from Toast McGoats. They're trying to sort of calculate everything here. Waxbacky just being so aggressive, being annoying, building up that ult charge. Pretty close to a mines once again.
And here we go, we got a Nano coming through, Winston coming through, Diva ult coming through onto the point, creates some zoning, and that turns into 2 kills. But Dano goes down while it's happening. Evil Light's actually popping off, he finds 2, but this is still a slight advantage for Toads McGoats here. This is just Virtual Riot trying to stall this one out. He's not actually on the point for a moment there. Almost up to a second tick, and there it is, second tick. I don't think anyone touches, and no, May doesn't make it on. Toads McGoats gets all 3.
Nice. Yeah, very good couple picks there as they approach the point. They just sort of scoop over that right edge there. Unfortunately, their supports were separated from them, so Evo picks them out pretty easily in that fight, but luckily the tank core stays alive and they capture the point.
I'm really glad they got both points there because it would have been heartbreaking after that earlier fight that they weren't able to close out.
Yeah.
But Toast McGoats, it feels weird that it took so long because it still only feels like there were 4 or 5 fights in that whole rounds But we're down to only a minute 28 on the timer.
Yeah, it felt long. But I'm actually pretty surprised that they were able to finish it out. FDAB, you know, like they have to show what they can do on attack now. FDAB was really good at stalling there in a lot of those fights, especially that first big fight on point B.
Yeah, we actually played a little bit with Wacky Tabaki last night for some practice games my team was doing. That ball does work. I mean, we've all watched it, we all know it, but playing with it for the first time, that ball, that's a lot different than my quick play balls. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that is for sure. I know he plays Orisa when they do Orisa Hog compositions, but rarely does he play Reinhardt. He pretty much is always on this ball. Because the team always plays 3 or 4 DPS. And
Yeah,
it looks like they're gonna roll out with the 3 here, and
but on the other side,
moving back to Hog.
What the fuck is this defensive comp?
This is a triple DPS solo tank Winston. Very interesting.
2 CP defense set.
Yeah, it's risky, but I think you could pull it off here on Anubis because there's these high grounds that they're gonna abuse with Mercy and Ashe and Sombra. But Crystallize picking out Mighty Wolf early on. He will get rezzed up, so it is now a fair fight once again. Wacky Tabaki, that big pressure maker, yeah, down. So might have to be a full regroup here from FDAB. Crystallize, so he is going to set up on the bridge here, so he has some positioning on this window, but forced out right away by UTech.
Yeah, UTech is in really deep though. He's the solo tank. He's got to remember that, and he actually does get picked out. It's a 1-for-1, but I think that FDAB, with all of these DPS on the roster, are going to be fine making that trade because they're pushing in. Evilite high, Wacky and Virtual Riot playing low. And they're making the way out of the point. There we go. Ball going up, ball slam and jam them all. Evilite raining hell from the skies up there. This is putting out some good DPS, and it's turning into another trade though. Virtual Riot goes down. UTech on the Winston's going to be back soon. He actually just making it in now. EMP comes out of Chromatic. It only gets 3. But that might be
only
enough.
3 on point, so that should be a fight secured hopefully from Toast McGoats here. Dirty Dan and Crystallize, they are still alive, but they will go down. Yeah, UTech getting a little over aggressive there. Really, that's what prompted FDAB to move in onto the point there. In this competition, that's ideally you'd run a ball here, right? Because the ball can go into the enemy backline and get out pretty easily, where Winston can't. But at least without Primal.
Well, fortunately for them, they will have that Primal available the next fight. Here we go. Dano popping that Valkyrie nice and early. There's a lot of damage being traded. Wacky goes down early again, but Chromatic also down. 5v5, heading towards the point here.
Okay, Wacky gets back up there, so that's huge. You can get to that point now and have to put pressure on it. High ground taken by FDAB. Virtual Riot and Dirty Dan, they are up here, but UTech going for that Primal and knocking them away. Bob on the ground, hopefully can at least kill those mines. Thanks, Bob.
Bless Bob. There we go. Primal UTech coming in right as that ult wears off. I still don't really have any idea who's winning this fight, but the Mighty Wolf is popping the Transcendence just to heal up some low health bars here. As there's a lot of slowing, but now Virtual Riot, there's no Transcendence to counter this one. Looking for the kills, he finds 1. Maybe just the 1. As now BSRK is popping a blade. He's trying to save this. As he's kind of the last man standing here. Is he going in, trying to slice it nice through it? Actually, no, he's bought time. Teammates got there.
He's doing it.
Toast McGoats, they hold the point.
Yeah, Toast McGoats, they kept getting these ults right at the exact time they needed them, and they kept popping them one after another, and everyone just ran out of juice there at the end. And FDAB not able to pull it through. They do have a tick though, but only 60 seconds left, so this is pretty crucial time for FDAB here. They're gonna have the barrage, they're gonna have Tire, which should be pretty easy to get an opening pick with.
I'm almost thinking they maybe want to wait a second with the Tire with how split these fights have been getting. I feel like if they don't have to open with the Tire, they can guarantee a kill as the fight starts going on, but UTech goes down early, and that's the pick Dab wanted to see. They're trying to bait out the rest here. Dano manages to survive the resurrection. No, he doesn't! No, he doesn't! FDAB's coming in, they get 3!
Yeah, Wacky Tabaki could smell that res happening, and he swoops down and knocks Dano back into the corner. He did get the res off, but it doesn't matter if you take out the Mercy at the end of it. So FDAB will pick up the first point here. 4 minutes on the time bank clock for point B, and they didn't rush, they didn't tire. This could be a snowball.
is an EMP available from Chromatic, and both of the support ults about to be available for Toadsman Goats. As they are switching over to a 2-tank composition. They got Ryan and Diva here, but the Mighty Wolf nearly gets chunked out. Wacky goes in, EMP comes out, Dano dies early, and now here we go, all of the ults being dropped, crystallized mostly into a shield there. But now the support ult has been used, and Virtual Riot's gonna have an unopposed pack visor here. Can he find some sightlines? It was just Chromatic, it looks like.
This is insane. That Transcendence had so much value, but we'll get to that after the fight here. The dual back Valkyries are popped. Now the tire takes out the mech of BSRK. Toastman Goats, they are looking low on player count on the point here, but UTech comes back out on the Reinhardt. How long can he survive on this? Okay, thanks on the McGrady, goes in, dodge rolls, takes out Cuban P. Huge pick for his team, but now the overtime, or I guess now the spawn timers are gonna be long here. Chromatic gonna come into the Sombra.
Yeah, this is no heroic Toadsman Goat stall, as Fine Dining and Breathing was 15 seconds away from not getting that first point, but they end up getting 2 with a time advantage.
Wow, so the Transcendence out at the Mighty Wolf on
That was
Toastman
so
Goats.
big.
Holy shit, it's literally soaked up in an entire Death Blossom and a Rocket Barrage. And Josh Danko at the end of that, he's like, oh, I can pop Visor now. They had more DPS ults. Then they had Fire too. Toastman Goats just doesn't have enough defensive ults to counter all the DPS ults, and that's one of the strengths of running so many DPS heroes.
Ready for battle.
So, you know, over half the time on the time bank for FDAB here as we go into the third round.
Yeah, minute 28 for TMG, and I know we kept saying it before, that we were just very slow tempo. They're gonna have to try to push things a little bit more here with only a minute and a half. If you're going slow, you're gonna lose out on an entire fight, which with a minute and a half is a pretty big deal. So I'm curious to see how they swap things here on the offense. FDAB not doing the same thing as their first defensive run. They are going with BOL comp of the season, the bunker.
Yeah, and Toastman Goats looks like they're gonna stick on this a Sombra Pharah dive composition, and it actually does okay against the bunker comp here, assuming Chromatic can build up that EMP.
Yeah, but this
within
is
time.
Like we were saying with tempo. This is pretty much committing to one good fight with EMP.
True.
If they stick
Yep.
with these picks.
Yep. So it's sort of a all in or not here, and okay, things gonna go down. So really sort of solidifying that one fight idea here. Chromatic trying to sneak into the back line, trying to get some charge maybe, but he goes for the hack instead, and that prompts UTech to dive in, pushes everyone off the point, but they are gonna go down quickly. Immortality field should keep everyone healthy here. Toastman Goats, yeah, not having too many legs to stand on.
Yeah, they need to get out there just feeding over ult charge that they can't afford to give over right now, but they're still kind of contesting this. Somebody needs to call get out, regroup. You have 30 seconds. You want one clean fight here.
Yeah, I mean, they're really hoping they can get a pick here in this extended fight, because that would sort of tip it over attacker versus defender advantage here on a 2CP. And okay, thanks against Purple, but he is able to escape with his life just barely. And the supercharger and the immortality field goes down and crystallize. UTech with the primal rage now. Evil Light still in this turret form, still doing the damage. Whole Hog's gonna be popped, but this is looking good for Toastman Goats.
Yeah, the picks are coming through. They lose Chromatic and a Mech and a Mighty Wolf there, but I don't think any more members of FDAB are making it back to this point. There we go. They go down. Crystallize here on this Lucio that no one can seem to hit for a second, but that should be first point over. Shout out to Dano the Mano on the Mercy, who saw that no one was seeing the Bastion, that had made it back and had reset up, pulls out the pistol and does it himself. As, that actually, I think, was a huge play there in that fight, because the Bastion was about to go 1v6.
Yeah, that's true. I saw that Bastion was starting to get kills in the kill feed. I'm looking for him. I'm like, where is this guy? He's like, oh, he literally just got back, or he's like pretty close to the enemy here. But Waxback, he's in the back line. Yeah, he's looking for the first knock-in to start this fight off, but it's going to be, okay, thanks to the Genji Blade. What can he pick up? And it's going to be nothing. Evil Light shuts him down.
Oh,
Time
man.
is running out, and this will be the last fight here for Toastman Goats. won't be any progress to say the least on point B.
That was an atrocious final fight. They had some big ults available. The EMP only hits one. The Blade only hits none. They didn't even get a chance to chuck out the Diva Bomb. And I don't think there were any ults available for FDAB there. If they had comboed a little more cleanly, that had the potential to be the snowball. But now that's both times the TMG was attacking on Anubis. We thought there was a potential for snowball there on point 2, and they weren't able to pull it off.
Yeah, I think you analyzed it perfectly there. Yeah, they needed to combo the EMP and the Dragon Blade together, and yeah, not using the Diva Bomb, I probably would have opted to throw the Diva Bomb in first, or at least somehow in a way to sort of cut off their support line or their tank line. But you know, they're still able to cap the first point with 1:30 on the clock, so good for them. They are still playing for the win here on Anubis.
Yeah, 3 minutes to get a tick on point 2. That's not the worst.
Yep, it all comes down to the first point, I think. I think Toastmagoats, they got to be really clutch here on the first point defense. They're going to come out basically with the same idea of composition they did on the first defense. This time not opting for the Ashe, opting for a Widowmaker instead and BRSK on the Genji with the Sombra as the third DPS.
I'm really happy that they're just pounding it in with the Sombra. It's so effective against the Wrecking Ball. And I feel like everything that FDAB does just gets knocked down a few pegs when Wacky's not having free reign of the opposing backline.
Gotcha.
So we'll see here. Can Dano survive here? Big pressure on this Mercy yet again. As Wacky is wasting no time going just straight in.
Yep, Dano being smart here and pocketing the Widow right off the bat because you know where Wacky Tabacky's going on this ball. And Virtual Riot picks off UTech once again, a little too far off from his team, not cut off from the heels, but okay, thanks. Popping off.
Yeah, great shots out of okay, thanks there. There are still picks coming through. Wacky and Virtual Riot now both going down. That should be the end of this push. They do get the res on the Wolf. So far a good stall.
Yeah, I mean, without thanks popping off there on the Widow, just landing a lot of good shots in a row.
Yeah,
it might have been FDAB coming up with a little bit more.
It looked bad for a second there. When UTech went down, that's the only tank for this composition. My worry alarms start just screaming internally. That's
someone on the point.
Wait, forced everyone back.
Off the high ground, see, they all immediately jump to low ground, so I think that's exactly what they wanted to do there. FDAB, they're sort of staging in this back. Are they opting to go top or not? They might just go straight to point.
Yeah, Wacky is back. By the way, UTech did die during that setup, so there is no tank here for Toastmagoats. They've lost Chromatic as well, so there won't be an EMP coming up. But once again, okay, Thanks is popping off.
Amazing. Oh my god, and the Venom Mine takes on Evo Light, the tilt, and it's only Crystallized and Cuban Beat on this point. They should be able to be finished off here with UTech back on this Winston, yeah. And some pretty good staggers, and now it's only minute 15.
Okay, thanks. Saves the game. 2 fights in a row for his team, and he's feeling it. Look at him. He's pressing this one forward. He says, you can't snipe me back. You slopped off. You're scared, as you should be.
Yeah, it's a matter of whether he can get back and sort of set up, and he can't. So the aggression is punished. FDAB having the huge opening here for point A. Tag Visor popped very early. He's looking for a Sombra, and Matic will go down by the hands of 30 damage. BSRK will finish off the Soldier in the end. UTech getting sniped off here. Transcendence is already used, and it's back and forth, but at the end of the day, FDAB is going to be on the point capping it.
Oh no, what are you doing? BSRK pops the Blade in a 2 versus 4. It looks like Toastmagoats, no one is giving up the proper call to abandon ship here to save these ults for the second point. But UTech is coming in, Primal Rage. They are not giving this one up. Now Dano's here back. They're committing everything. They want this win, but UTech down, Dano down. Okay, thanks, running for his life. What in the hell was that call? They pick up okay, thanks, and now they're rushing the point. Wacky Tabaccy is coming in like a wrecking ball.
Oh my god, so aggressive. I like one of the comms are like, I'm doing it. Wait, no, we're out. No, I'm going in. I got it. I have Primal. I have Valkyrie. Let's do all of those. But don't do it. Look at the point is literally no one's on it.
You! No! That was one of the worst 60-second stretches I have ever seen in the Baddy League. Every single thing that Totes Magoats did there was the wrong decision. And it takes away from all of these hero plays OK Thanks was making to try to win this game for his team. I have no words. I can't even talk about this play. I'm actually angry about that loss.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one's a real tilter if you're on Toadsman Goats, unfortunately, because you guys did play well. I think the team knows that they were doing it. They were doing great. They were doing pretty solid, and that map could have been, at least could have been drawn if they just back out of that lost point A fight there at the very end. There was super draw. Yeah, UTEX says it. It was super drawable too, and I think that's the tilter of that match.
Yeah, and especially when it's in the first map of the night, and when you're a team like Totes Goats, where every win counts right now in terms of trying to make the playoffs. Obviously, this team's probably not playing for first place anymore. We'll be realistic about that, but I know I've been on the record. I've been saying for years that if you can't finish first, the second most important finish is fifth, because it means you never gave up like the sixth place team did. and Totes Goats, they've been showing that fight these last few weeks after a really rough start to the season, and it's just you see some of the skill there, but they just sometimes throw it all away with these monkey brain decisions.
Yeah.
But hopefully they're not as tilted as we would be coming out of that one, because they've still got 2 maps to play here, and if they're able to stay grounded, they can come out of that map saying, hey guys, we did a lot of things really well. We only have to be a little bit better to win these next maps.
True. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's kind of a flip side to when I said it was a real tilter. You could just say that was the first match you played all day, right? You go into the first match of the day, you coming in, and you're just sort of feeling yourself out, and it was a close one, kinda. You know, like at the end of the day, it was kind of close. So anything can happen here in the last 2 maps. It's gonna be King's Row, a fan favorite. Very excited for this map. I'm excited to see what teams will do here, especially on defense. Sort of a go-to, it appears, for a lot of teams is sort of the standard bunker comp, setting up on the high ground.
Yeah, do we have who is attacking first here?
Who knows?
Already forget who was attacking first the last game.
I don't think anything was swapped, so that would have been FDAB on defense?
Ready for battle.
Yes. Boom.
Yeah, Totes Goats on attack as they are hovering goats. After what happened on Anubis, I don't blame them.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
But on the other side here, so we've got FDAB making it out of spawn. They are committed to these picks. They are going with a 2-2-2, so a little bit out of the norm here. Crystallize playing second tank. He's done that a little bit this season. Evilite playing support. He's done that a little bit this season. Wacky on the Torbjorn. I love it.
Okay, this honestly seems a little bit disrespectful. this comp doesn't make a lot of sense at all on defense, especially from what the strengths FDAB is showing. I've never seen them play this. I don't know.
Well, sometimes if you're going to try things out, you got to ease your way into it against the bottom tier team. And that might be what FDAB is doing here to find out if what they have is working. But here we go. Here come the goats. There go the goats. UTEX slept immediately. Health bars are so low on this goat. They do manage to trade for Virtual Riot, but it looks like Totes Goats is going to be forced the hell out of this first point. As maybe I stand corrected. The healing is too much, actually. Totes Goats is coming through. There's a big grenade there, but I don't think it's going to matter, as the Evilite is still contesting this, even though his whole team was backing out. You're an Anna, my friend. That's not your job. And Totes Goats, they win the first fight.
God damn, I love him. Chromatic. The Zarya play. I knew this was going to happen. I saw this fight going on, and the composition that FDAB had, there's no way they could isolate and take out Chromatic on the Zarya. Extended Goats fight, the Zarya is at full charge, and Chromatic just slices through everybody at the end there. Kind of the strength of the Totes Goats team running Goats.
FDAB has swapped back to the tried and true here. They got a lot of DPS. Virtual Riot coming through on this Doomfist, and there we go. Dano and BSRK both going down. That's 2 of the 3 healers traded for the Doomfist. Can they finish this one off? They're pushed very far forward, and they're maybe where Totem Goats want them, because once again, the tanks are coming through. UTech and Chromatic putting out tons of DPS.
Yeah, those are some very good picks, and it was a smart idea from FDAB to try to hold them at this archway choke. But I think once they started getting some kills, their positioning got a little bit sloppy, and they didn't really expect the speed, the Lucio speed, when you're running goats. The Goats team can really just turn on you on a dime if you're within reach.
Yeah, there's no running away from the Goats composition, but FDAB will get another fight here right before second point as Josh is getting off of that high ground. Now here we go, Wacky Tabaki coming in, dropping the minefield on the back of the car. Area denied. Can they find anything? Diva ult coming up, going to find Cuban Pete, and that's a big pick. That is all the healing taken out for FDAB. The DPS are going to need huge outplays on this Goats composition that still has 2 healers available. As this fight kind of split. Okay, thanks is on this cart. He's finding some good damage.
Oh my god.
Oh, this
Oh
Diva.
my god.
Oh, Diva DPS coming through in the clutch. Okay, thanks is a god.
He literally, like, he casually 1v3'd them as he stood in the car.
It's Diva.
I know. He was against a Junkrat. I mean, I guess Chrysalis there was really close, or sorry, yeah, or whoever was playing Widow. I think, was he? Yeah, he was just playing Widow, but now he's playing Ana. Because they have Ana Mercy now.
A lot of healing. You, that is a lot of healing.
It is. Wacky Tabaki gets taken out early. Virtual Riot drops the Doomfist ultimate and just immediately nopes out of there. Evil Light is in the air. Could be pretty uncontested here against the Ghost. The grab is throwing in, taking out his supports. The Rocket Barrage is trying to counter the aggressive push, but the sleep comes through from Dano 22. And now it's Wacky Tabaki against the world as he has to roll out of here. Toastman Ghost, they have the momentum.
Yeah, they still have a huge ult advantage. There are 4 ults available for Toastman Goats. A Tire and soon-to-be Minefield available. Valkyrie if this fight goes on for long, for Fine Dining and Breathing. They need these ults to come through. Huge and Wacky, he's going in. Tire coming in. Minefield ready to be dropped. Where will it go? BS okay, thanks. Tossing that ult up, and he finds Dirty Dan. The Tire didn't find anyone. As here we go, the Minefield coming through. A 5v5 around this cart. The Mighty Wolf going down. Actually, this Minefield did a bit of work. FDAB kind of getting back on their feet here. They take out BSRK. They're finally forcing the Goats back as all 3 of the healers have gone down.
Yeah, and finally the momentum is stopped from Toadsman Goats. There's enough DPS and enough ultimates thrown in from FDAB there at the end that they're able to defend. This is interesting because, I mean, Toadsman Goats, I think they're running their Ghost composition very well. But, I mean, stylistically, we said at the beginning of the match, the 4 DPS or 3 DPS comp from FDAB actually counters this. Hammer comes through at the very end, and it does clip Wacky Tabaki, so he's gonna get slept.
Oh, Wacky, I thought they were about to wipe that minefield out, but no, the wrecking ball always makes out. Here we go, mine, barrages everywhere. That's 2 kills in a mech. Make that 3 kills going the way of FDAB, as they're gonna mop up on this card again.
Enchanting your damage.
Yep, 3 ultimates invested there. Actually 4, I believe. From FDAB, so they will win the fight there. 3 minutes on the clock for Toastman Goats, and they're gonna have some good ultimates here. They're gonna have the Grav.
This feels like the big fight. If Toastman Goats needs to commit everything here, and I think if it doesn't work, this is where they swap. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. On maybe Big Purple coming through. No. Okay, thanks, doing a good job of forcing people off to this high ground. There we go. He does manage to pick out Dirty Dan yet again. That Diva gonna be giving nightmares to the opposing team.
Yep, Wacky Tabaki is still in this back line. Dano 22 all by himself. Can he stay alive? Can he get defended here? But he's gonna get slammed in the back. But okay, thanks for the double kill. The double kill of the supports.
This
so
could be
this
big.
is huge.
UTech died early, but it might not matter here. Wrecking Ball in the back line. He's actually pulling a lot of people away from this card, but this card is inching towards the finish line. Is now Wacky Tabaki has to come back in. He's just about got the ult, but the grab's out of the Chromatic. That's a defensive minefield if I've ever seen one, but the Goats are still going strong. Wacky Tabaki, he's engaged spin mode. He's trying to knock people into these mines. But QP is down again. Dirty Dan tossing a Tire out of his spawn, doesn't find anyone. Dirty Dan goes down. Wacky forced off. The rally is coming through. There is armor, but here we go. Evil Light looking for it. He finds the deep, but that's it. But still, the stall, the Doomfist, and the ball are stalling for so long, but will it matter? Human Pete valved up in the air, trying to heal his ball. Human Pete is contesting this cart.
Oh, there it is!
Finds the hammer, doesn't get the fire strike, but it doesn't matter. But here we go. May coming through again. Can another big May stall happen for Fine Dining and Breathing? I don't know. They've been stalling for a long time here.
Your tech falls in. Even Light's still on this point. He used the ice block already. Here's the second wall. And the Diva Bomb popped on top of the car. Takes out Human Pete. Can this roll in at the end? Waxing back. Stalling. Dirty Dance. Stalling. Crystallized there. Josh Danko coming back out on the Doomfist. I swear to God, if he touches the point once again, and he does. And there it is. Totes and Goats finally finishing off King's Row.
If it weren't for that win we thought was free on Anubis turning into a stall pick success, I think we both would have been a lot less stressed there. But my mind was just screaming, not like this, not again. That whole fight. But Totema Goats managed to push it through. They have a minute remaining on the clock if we head into additional rounds. They have the chance to win this on defense. The Goats worked.
The Goats did work. And it works really well here on King's Row. And I just don't think there's enough space for all the DPS picks to make, you know, all of the angles and to really get all of those shots that they need to in on this Goats comp, because this Goats comp, once they get rolling and once Zarya gets the charge and Lucio has the speed boost, they could just roll through whatever contests them on the point.
You know, there's one thing I was realizing as this map went on that I hadn't thought about before, but I think part of why this Goats comp works so good for TMG, this team never knows when to fight and when not to fight. They just get into these super long fights, and it's kind of, all right, everyone commit everything until we all die. And that's perfect for Goats.
That is true. And I think at the very end there, like, I guess essentially how they started that very long fight at the end, I think they used all of their ultimates perfectly. They all were spaced out pretty well, and the sound barrier got huge value. It blocked the rib tire. That could have just ended it all, but man, the stalls once again from FDAB. I swear that they practiced this shit, right?
Are you watching this?
Wait, what?
5, 4, 3,
Totema Goats is in deep. They have the entire team up on this high ground.
What the fuck?
They're gonna be scouted out early by a Afara, and a Wacky Tabaki is already on the point. Oh no, this is not what they wanted.
No, and BSRK is slept behind enemy lines. Can he get out of this? And they are going to prevent the tick from happening, but Dirty Dan picks out Dano 22 with a huge source of healing. Okay, thanks. So returning the kill onto Josh Danko, who can contest this Pharah though up in the sky. Okay, has to use the ice block early.
I can't believe more members of Totema Goats didn't die here, actually. As they have stalled out a respawn from Dano 22 making his way back just as Wacky Tabaki comes in. Virtual Riot goes in.
Oh no.
They do get the pick on the BSRK, so that could be big. As Blizzard coming out nice and early. Did it must have got. Oh, that Blizzard is deep. They just walked past it.
Yeah. A very aggressive Blizzard placing that doesn't help this fight at all, unfortunately. And Totema Goats, they also got pushed into the corner in purple from an anti-nade, so they're gonna go down here. And FDAB, they're gonna have a lot of ults on the board here to push through.
Yeah, it looks like they've given up on this May on the side of Totema Goats. They're back to the Goats. No Ana this time. They have the Moira. As there were a lot of bad ults in that fight.
Yeah. Yeah, very questionable from Totema Goats there, but it looks like they're going to be able to regroup here, and I think this comp's going to do pretty well here in the Streets phase. Hopefully, it's really just a matter of whether they can contest Pharah, or how much value Evilite's going to get out of it, really. And he does get a pick out of BSRK. Dirty Dan picking out U-Check as well. So the Junkrat spam and the Pharah spam just a little too much for Totema Goats.
Yeah, this card's been moving the whole time. The Goats haven't had a chance to contest here as they are just giving up time and space at once here, as Chromatic will be the last one to fall. The Goats, they are closing in on a few ults, so I feel like they have to roll with this for another fight, but this is looking rough. I don't think they can contest point 2.
Ooh, I think
they can touch, but I don't think they can contest. Oh, and that's it. They won't do it with a man down, because Virtual Riot and Wacky Tabaki and Avalite, they're not content just to get the point 2. As here we go, they're coming in. They force some very aggressive defensive ults out of Totema Goats here. They do lose Avalite for it, but I don't think they're going to care, because point 2 did just go over through FDAB.
Yeah, but it looks like there was a few ults used on the FDAB side as well. But Wacky Back, he goes in with the mines, knocks everyone up. Virtual Right trying to single up BSRK, and he kills him once again. BSRK really getting focused at the start of these fights, and he's getting taken out early. Very smart from FDAB, taking out the Brigitte.
Yeah, Wolf goes down before he gets a chance to pop the sound barrier as well, as this is turning into a pretty staggered fight. That was a fairly defensive coalescence coming out of Dano, as he had the healing sight lines there. They do get the kill on the Virtual Ride, but okay, thanks, trying to come through big again. Blocked by UTech, but that is stalling some time. We might finally see a full reestablish here out of the defense, but Wacky Tabacky, no, finally gets caught going in deep.
Yeah, he got clipped by that Diva Bomb at the end there, and I think he was just maybe, hopefully to get the speed and roll out of that fight, but gets spotted in the back. So there is a grab online, there it is, boom, Chromatic throws it in.
Right
Picks
before
up
he
two,
dies.
but there's no follow-up from Toaster Goats, unfortunately.
Now the dive.
Uses the ult. Barrage, Nano Barrage in from the top rope. But
Somehow
it's actually
doesn't find
absorbed from
anybody.
Cosmic Goats, yeah.
Yeah, they're now just starting to lose some bodies, though. Here we go, a hammer being dropped, and the members, oh, UTech just barely holding on with his life. The big deal's trying to come through as UTech's charging it, but a big grenade, sound barrier comes out into Mighty Wolf. It's on 5, and this is actually looking good for Toads, but Goats here again. With Cuban Pete is going to be uncontested, mad healing up in the air. As a tire comes out in 30 again, and it finds 2. That could be the chance, because now Wacky's coming in, dropping the bomb.
Oh no.
Diva going in, dropping the bomb. Dano running off, dropping his life.
Wow, and I mean, Cosmic Goats, they layered their support ultimates, the Coalescence, the Sound Barrier, which is very unfortunate because the Riptire comes through, picks out 2. But this fight is so staggered, there's so many fronts to it, and the card's still pushing, but I think Cosmic Goats should be able to get back with numbers before the attackers do, because it's so far for the attacker spawn, but a lot of very mobile heroes from FDAB here. Wacky Back, he gets stunned up, but he doesn't get taken out. UTech now is going up to a ball of his own.
Yeah, here we go, Meteor Strike coming in deep. They gotta turn. Don't let Virtual Riot get these kills. As Wacky Tabaki has been resurrected. Virtual Riot gets picked out on his engagement. But there's a lot of low health fires on the other team. Alphalite with another barrage.
Oh!
EMP comes out. Okay, they finds 2. I think the Toads and Goats is gonna be able to hold on to this one again.
Oh, yeah. FDAB, they're just not able to finish off targets fast enough, it seems like. I mean, the tankiness and sustain out of the Goats comp, I think is really winning out here at the stall. And Wacky Tabacky, he goes in very deep, lays out the mines. I don't know if his team's even in place to contest, but it looks like UTech, he drew all the pressure away, and they take out FDAB's ball.
Yeah, rare big misplay out of Wacky Tabacky. He will be resurrected though. Now UTech is in. UTech is nanoed. As Wacky is trying to just spin around this card. He's drawing a lot of pressure. UTech gets slept, but does not go down. It's Evilite that goes down. His sound barrier is coming out for Totes Magotes here. They're now pushing it forward. They get their second kill. They're looking for more. UTech putting on some decent pressure. Okay, thanks. In the front line. I think they're forcing Totes Magotes or FDAB back, but maybe not. FDAB is content to keep playing this. Nice and far forward.
Yeah. Chromatic on the Sombra now, 75% to another EMP. I guess he's already used one. Wacky Tabacky charges in here. Valkyrie's popped from Cuban Pete. FDAB looking for the kills to start this one off. Virtual Riot on the Zarya. He gets nanoed, but doesn't pick any kills up. Diva Bomb comes through from okay, thanks, just clearing everybody out of the space. Virtual Riot goes down with all the charge in the world. And Totes and Goats, they repel another attack from FDAB.
Yeah, there was another swap out of FDAB here. Evilite before that last fight swapped off the Farah onto the Hanzo. So looking for... I'm actually kind of surprised. I thought the Farah was doing work, even though the ults weren't coming through. But the snipe may be going to be a bigger deal as he takes out to Mighty Wolf there, who was close to a sound barrier. As a UTech is deep.
Yeah, he's very deep, and Chromatic is deep too, and he puts the Translocator in the back, and it goes for the casual 3-man EMP, but it gets taken out immediately, as well as used with UTech. Toes will go crumbling here,
oh, man.
As everyone will go down. The stall will not be enough here, as they will push it on through.
Chromatic was so occupied with whether he could, he didn't stop to think about whether he should pop that EMP there, because it was him and UTech with not a chance of follow-up from anyone else on that team. The EMP came through, and he lost his life for it. UTech lost his life, and the round ends after what was looking like a pretty valiant defense from Totes Magotes. Now instead we're going to extra rounds.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely saw the plan, what they were trying to do, but the coordination on the other side of the fight just not there. And really, you just want to save that for as long as possible. As you know, the Sombra, you probably want to position a little bit more defensively, and you definitely want to get the ball in the EMP. But you know, Toast Goats, they have 13 more seconds on the time bank, so they're doing pretty good here in Kings Row against FDAB.
Yeah, this is gonna be a nerve-wracking round 3 and 4. As we saw both of these teams just kind of fold over in the streets phase, so you have to feel like both of these teams probably just want to get the hold here on first point.
Yeah, I mean, that's the name of the game. It's coming out with maybe a pretty clever defense, but it's really about surviving the initial pick phase. You know, when the two teams sort of encounter each other, they look at each other, and it's really that crucial for both teams not, at least the defending team, not to get picked there.
All right, well, all the pressure going to be on OK Thanks here, who's been pretty big tonight. He is on the Bastion for this defense. He's got a lot of shielding, and this is not where you normally see the Bastion.
I love this. This is super clever. And I think this works against the composition that they're running, for sure. I think Wacky, though, he sees this and he's trying to think of an angle he can swoop in here and knock them out from that area, and he just that. As they are running double shield, but he gets hacked up, and he's not able to lay down a shield or fortify. But Virtual Riot is going to get demac'd here.
Now Waggy Tabaki going in again. They're turning. No, PSRK, no! You can't charge backwards! That was a huge mistake. Gives up his Bastion. OK Thanks goes down. And now Toast Goats, I mean, they're committed. They have to go for something here, but they're losing members. A res on Evilite. This is a multi-man advantage for the offense. The Mighty Wolf hoping for a hero res, but it's not going to happen there, as everyone's going to just have to die on this point and get ready to fight in the streets. Overtime push successful for FDAB, and we've got a card.
Yeah, I love the strats out of Toast Goats, and I think with a little bit better execution and just sticking together, they might have been able to pull that one off, but a very crucial hack from Evilite to open that first pick up onto UTech. And yeah, BSRK, the Reinhardt play, obviously needed to stay with his team there and contest the point, but let's see what they can do now. A few switch-ups here, BSRK going back to the D.Va.
Yeah, that was a really late swap. They spent a lot of time talking about this, which means a lot of free real estate in the streets for FDAB before the D.Va's going to get here. And it looks like they don't care that the D.Va's nowhere near this fight because they're going in.
Yeah, OK Thanks goes into tank form, takes out Crystallize. He is getting mocked by this Mercy. Takes out another kill, but Virtual Riot, he's going to take him out on the return here. The Valkyrie, or sorry, the res coming through from Mighty Wolf. And Toast Goats, they're still looking pretty good here. Overtime clock is ticking, so this is the last fight situation, and the EMP takes out 4.
That was a fat EMP. Yeah, here we go. This fight's getting very split. Chromatic, or sorry, BSRK is out there as a baby D.Va, really forcing FDAB back, but they probably feel fine with that because that's just a baby D.Va, and they collapse, they get reestablished, they push forward on this card is moving forward again as they get a team kill that's going to get them almost a point too. I think the Toast Goats gets to contest the second point this time, but Virtual Riot and Evilite are coming forward. They want to force people back. Maybe get some stagger picks here.
Yeah, that EMP Chromatic, it was great. It landed on 4 members of FDAB, but there just needed to be some follow-up, and it's looking pretty bleak here because Evilite, he has an EMP of his own, so FDAB...
Oh, and Evilite's uncontested in the back here. He's looking for it as they're heading up to the second point. Evilite coming in, EMP hits 4. Bombs going up, bombs coming down. Don't find any kills, but the card still moving forward is... You've got a ball spinning around the card. They do take out Cupid. That could be the big, but Crystallize as well. That's both of the heroes. Rep that down. Evilite as well. Is it finally happening? Wacky Tabaki trying to hold this minefield. Not all on the ground level here, as both of these balls are just stalling so much time here, but it's only 2 members of FDAB left. Wacky going up, and actually everyone steps off. That is a good old-fashioned letter number. But it was going to be a loss anyway, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that fight was pretty much over there at the end. But yeah, pretty good defense there, coming into point B from Toast Goats. They somehow only lost 1 out of an EMP self-destruct and 1 other ultimate, a damage ultimate.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. It's
Yeah.
it looked like there was the chance for that to be big there, but all's well that ends well, I guess.
Yeah, so we'll see what Cosmic Goats can do on their attack, and it's gonna have to come up pretty big, right? They have a minute 13, so they have to cap the first point, and they'll probably use up pretty much all that time. So then it's overtime from then on out on the payload, and so they just can't get displaced off of it, right? Like, the overtime wick's gonna be burning, and let's say they even get it pretty close to the end, where they could win this map. Wacky to Wacky can roll through and knock them off. So it's a matter of how grounded can they stay on this payload if they do manage to cap it.
Yeah, and it looks like Fine Dining and Breathing are predicting the goats. They've got a few of the nice goats counter picks here with a Bastion and a Junkrat through, as they are going up high. Okay, they're taking the time to decide where they want to go. They didn't want to show up there on the bunker, but the bunker is set. What will the goats do?
Well, there is a counter for at least Goat's movement towards this point. This is sort of the riskier movement, but I think they can get onto point here, and they're gonna have to force Virtual Riot at the very least to come down and contest here. The Bastion is not set up to take up this sight line, but BSRK goes down.
This is big. They picked up Wolf earlier as well, so that's the speed and a lot of the melee threat ability out of the goats has been eliminated, as they are taking this very slowly. I feel like Coach Goats maybe wants to just commit to a full reset here, but they're staggering out a spawn. They're throwing away a lot of time here.
Yeah,
and this is actually, he's being staggered. This is so smart.
Yeah. That's gonna hurt because, yeah, he looked pretty charged there. 18 seconds left. You lose all that Zarya charge. They have to build it back up. They're gonna have Grid from Baptiste here, and they're gonna have Bomb. And the Evil will surely get the tank farm. Yeah, it's looking bleak, right? The Ghost comp has no ultimates here. They throw the bomb in. What can they pick up? Nothing with that. But okay, thanks. He takes a dirty damage somehow. I'm not sure he was like on a flank, or at least on the opposite high ground. Now with this team, and there's that tank form coming out from Evil Light. What can they do here? EMP field put onto the very corner of the point here. The grab comes in from Chromatic. What can they kill here?
Oh, there's some big damage coming through. The goats have lost UTech, and now here comes the Tyrant Dirty Den. Everyone's kind of grouped. Look at the Moira just getting the hell out. This Tyrant coming down from the low ground, looking for multiple. Does not find it. Didn't want to just take one. He wanted to get the home run, and he ends up getting none. Now the Baptiste field goes down. The Baptiste goes down, and the goats, it was looking so bad for them, but they come through another overtime point cap. And now they have overtime to push almost all of the streets.
Yeah, something cute there, Total Mayhem. The Junkrat passive claiming a life here. Not very often you see that. Yeah, so Total Goats, like I said, they're able to do it just in the nick of time. That grab, I think, was really huge from Chromatic to be able to build it up so early.
That grab.
Yeah, but there's a lot of good fields, immortality fields from Crystallize, and they were able to take them out pretty quickly, though. Evil Light is still on the Bastion here, so they're looking to set up on this high ground alley, and at least they're gonna try to break the shields of UTech, and they do. But the cart's just gonna keep on going. I think they might try to roll past this. Virtual Riot, though, he's gonna stop the point in its tracks, and Evil Light still is spraying and praying that he can get the kills that his team needs here to survive this, because the Toads for Ghosts, they're brawling in the streets. This is what the Ghost comp is made for.
Everyone's so low, but no one is dying. Finally, Virtual Riot Team X Wacky Tabaki goes down, and this is actually now going good for Toast, but Toast is going good because they find a healer as well. The cart is still moving. I can't believe it. That was such a long fight with everyone in slivers of health, but the staggers are coming through. The cart is nearly there. Toast the Ghost. They weren't tilted after Anubis.
Oh, Crystallize, he can touch the MP field, or M field, it's gonna go down really quickly. Wacky Tabaki is the only one left on this point, and he's gonna take, he dodges the damage from the Demon Bomb. So they're still in this. Cuban Pete comes back, no sound barrier, but the tire is popped. Virtual Riot is stuck in a grab, but will it be enough? The tire is up 3! And now the tank form from Evil Light, he's gonna launch these from downtown. Can they get there in time?
Evil Light's there, he finds a fourth. It's so close, but now it's the man advantage for the defense. Evil Light is in top form. No! Not like this! Dano is the last to fall, and with 4 meters to go! The tire came through, and Fine Dining and Breathing rip out the hearts of Toadsma Goats. They they stab it, they step on it, they fucking shit on it, and they win King's Row.
Let's talk about a play of the game here from Chromatic. Another fat Chromatic grab. Super high charge here, super good sleep, and takes out the Pharah as well. But my god, yeah, you explained it perfectly. They're ripping their hearts out. If you thought Anubis was a tilter, that's a tilter right there.
That is one of the most heartbreaking 2-map sequences I have ever seen in any level of Overwatch.
Yeah, that was really nuts. And I think I kind of called it again, right? They got to the very end, and Wacky Tabaki comes back in the ball, and he just starts swinging, and he dodges the Diva Bomb damage somehow. And they just had all these ultimates left, right? They didn't use them in that first Streets phase, and they have kind of good range with them, right? The tire drives in from downtown, same with the tank form. Oh man, just you try to reset after that, I guess, if you're Toast Goats. Mentally, that is. You go into Dorado, every map counts. They're doing great. They're really bringing it to FDAB. I mean, honestly, this team's looking the best they've ever have this season.
Yeah, they are. And as heartbreaking as this is, at this point, they're not playing for 4th. They're playing for 5th, and they would love to have some leeway. But ultimately, it's going to come down to their rematch against 50 Senpai's Body Pillow. A team that Totem Goats lost 0-3 in week 1, but it feels like both of these teams are in very different places compared to where they were then.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they kind of figured it out after last week, right? They took a map off 50cc and on Lijiang Tower in the Goats comp. We didn't do really anything. We didn't do good things to counter it, and that's what I said at the beginning of the broadcast here. Is I like this team running Goats, and as long as they keep practicing it, I think the real key thing is BSRK getting more comfortable on Brigitte or Diva. I'm not. I guess he's been swapping in between the two. But I mean, he was really known as a Genji player, right? Before this match, he was playing a lot of Genji. But now he's sort of forced into this Goats mindset on Diva or Brigitte, and you could see the inexperience. But if he were to practice it with his team more, this Goats comp would be looking pretty good. And especially if you go against a team that doesn't run multiple DPS comps that stylistically counter it. So, Toast Goats, they're not out of this, right? They are definitely playing for 5th, and I'm hoping to see some good effort here on Dorado.
Yeah. Same. I'm still. My heart is like still physically hurting from that last game, though.
Yeah, I know. It's All right. Well, BSRK maybe hanging up the Goat's shoes today. He's on his tried and true solo flank Genji. Let's see what kind of flanking route he takes here.
Yeah, they're running the dive DPS with their Ryan Zarya comp. It's just comfort picks coming through here, but Avalite putting out some good damage from up in the sky right now as Human Pete is the first to fall there. Nice shots out into Mighty Wolf. The cart keeps moving. BSRK goes down. We got a 5v5 nice and early.
Oh, Virtual, he gets picked out. I mean, he is on the soldier, so he should have a quick back. Evil Light gets taken out, and now, okay, Thanks takes out the Doomfist counterpart, make it a double. And
yes.
Counter Goats are going to get some nice movement on the cart. They're going to make it through that really hard choke. There should be another contest here in the plaza area.
There's some nice wins in the 1v1s there in that fight, which maybe right where Toast Goats wants them. So we'll see if they can do it one more time. All of FDAB's gonna make it here. Wacky Tabaki going in first, gets a nice knockout. Ooh, okay, thanks though. Did pick out Virtual Riot off to the side somewhere.
It actually takes out his counter, right? Virtual Riot was on Soldier. He switched over to the McCree because he sees okay Thanks in this kill feed on Doomfist. Needs to counter it somehow. But if you get taken out by the Doomfist, what are you? Cupid Pete with a crazy res on Evil Light. The point is already captured.
Yeah,
so
that
should be a full retreat.
That looks like it was an actual Cloud9 out of FDAB there. They had killed both of the opposing supports from Totes Goats, and they had their whole team there to keep fighting. They just didn't have Wacky alive, so no one thought to contest the point, which is an issue with these one-tank compositions. But here we go. They're going to contest this one nice and early right here in the corner. Minefield goes down. Okay, Thanks didn't find anything with the Doom Slam. Evil Light didn't find anything with the Rocket Barrage. And this is again looking good for... the minefield at the end, finds 2. And FDAB is going to mop this one up and stop this cart.
Yep, looks like it. And the Waxy he's just swinging free. He's just having a great old time on Wrecking Ball. Okay, thanks. Switching over to the Widowmaker here. So off the Doomfist because I think 2 people on FDAB switched to heroes to counter him, the Sombra and the McCree. And I mean, hell, Junkrat too, why not? So a very good swap here, and he takes out QPP, which is huge.
Yeah, right as he had popped the Valkyrie there, so that's a lot of value eliminated by Toadsman Goats. As it looks like FDAB, there's a lot of people they will contest without, but this Mercy, maybe not one. Oh, I take it back because Wacky is going up, forcing OK Thanks that down. But Evil Light does get taken out of the sky there. Nice shots by OK Thanks. Forces the res out of Cuban Pete. High noon. Virtual Riot. Time for a high nap.
Boom! Nice sleep into charge combo from Toadsman Goats. Effectively handling that Deadeye and the showtime or the showdown, whatever he says. And there is the double tire from Dirty Dan. Always so sneaky with those.
Yeah, that's going to force Toadsman Goats back, but they are in a good spot here. 5 ults available. Make that 6 and a pick. They've got the site. They have every combo this composition could think of available to them. And there's only a minefield and an EMP coming up on the other side. Crystallize needs to be huge here if they want a chance of winning this fight. As OK Thanks does get picked early. That is not what Toadsman Goats wanted. They want to get this fight while they have the ult advantage.
Yeah, very unfortunate too, because he just popped the sights there, and when you die as Widowmaker, you actually lose it for the rest of your team, and the mines are effective for cutting off Toadsman Goats. Crystallize taking out UTech, and Mighty Wolf pops the Transcendence to try to counter it, but it's already done. The fight's over.
Yeah, I generally really liked Mighty Wolf's decision making, but I thought that was a really bad Transcendence. This fight was already well over, and they needed to keep everything for this next big fight. Gatolbusty only finds 1, so they're slowly throwing away this ult advantage. They're down to just 3 available. They have Nano Blade, but they're probably not going to need it because they're just finding picks the old-fashioned way. M1 and M2, mostly. As now UTech dropping the hammer on what remains, charging forward. That Ryan's going to make sure that no one from FDAB can get out and contest this card.
The grab was actually really huge. 900 IQ there. When you're playing Goats against 3 DPS, single man grabs are the way to play. You're looking for a pick. You want to always have the numbers advantage here. UTech charging in, gets off the point, but now Tabaki's spitted free. No Repeat to stun him up. What can Dano 22 maybe look for a sleep or a purple here? But QPP, he has the Valkyrie channel, so he's able to keep him healthy through the spin. Essentially, it looks like Toadsman Goats just stopped firing their guns. I don't know. Where is the damage?
Yeah.
There it is.
This is strange. UTech was like blocking a bunch of people towards their spawn, and Wacky's just doing it again. I've seen him do this too many times. Yes, okay, is blading, but this fight might already be lost. Wacky's up and denies the area, picks up 2 on that first pop, and we thought Toadsman Goats had the second point, but they actually still have to work for it because there are members of FDAB closer to this kite. But here we go, Meteor Strike. This could be the one. Takes out Virtual Riot.
Chromatic is still there. He has the charge and he has the Orb of Harmony from the Mighty Wolf, but the tire comes through with no self bubble to protect him against Dirty Dan's tire, and now it's only a minute left on the clock, and they're so damn close to taking point B here on Dorado.
Yeah, there was a lot of time burn there to ultimately not get the second point. As FDAB is very confident pushing this one forward, stalling even longer. We are now going to be in one-fight territory after the reset. Cuban Pete balks and dies, and now OK Thanks picks up 2 wins. What the fuck?
Huge. Okay, thanks. Finding the shots here on Ash. But he might get flash picked from Virtual Riot as he takes the long flank and the long stairs up. Takes out UTech as well.
There's only 20 seconds left. They couldn't afford to get picked there.
Yeah, BSRK going up against McCree. What can he get out of this one? But Dirty Dan joins the 1v1, but he gets the kill anyway. The EMP comes through from Crystallize, hits 3 members from Toadsman Goats. Chromatic on the card going down.
That could be huge because now they have to pop this Nano on UTech. They have to just pop whatever they have available here, but they're super outnumbered on this card. BSRK and UTech trying to do it all as the Ash makes it in. Wacky dropping the minefields, and it finds UTech now. OK Thanks, the hero coming through, but not able to do it. And just once again, some bad decision making on when not to reset from Totem Goats.
Yeah, the thing is though that last good solid fight that we saw there, it actually was winnable for Toast McGoats, but it seems like they're opting into the strategy where they don't worry about Wacky Tabaki. They basically say, hey, let's go for everyone else. And Wacky Tabaki, he's spinning on the cart and he's stopping the movement, right? But they're getting picks on the other side of the fight. It doesn't matter. The mines are used, and Toast McGoats barely loses that fight there at the end. And they couldn't regroup together for another full team fight. But they do get 1 point on the board, nearly 2. It's all about the defense here. Let's see what Toast McGoats pulls out. They might just run goats here, which is totally fine here on Dorado.
Yeah, there's some very holdable points here on defense, so Toast McGoats definitely not out of this yet.
Ready for battle.
So we got okay, thanks. Trying to call for a fist off here, but I don't know if Josh is going to take him up on that one.
Is that what will you do if I do? Oh,
30 seconds.
interesting. Okay, thanks. So he's going up to the Hanzo, which I don't believe we've seen him on, at least tonight. But Chromatic coming out on the Sombra on defense, I think that's smart. Something to counter Wacky Tabaki in the back line.
Yeah, I agree with it. It's good.
Oh yeah, 3 DPS again. They're running this on defense. Very interesting. They've done that pretty much all night. Except for King's Row, I guess.
Meanwhile, solo heal Cuban Pete for the offense here. As a lot of damage comes through, and actually Virtual Riot finds the first kill. Dano going down, BSRK going down, and this is good for the offense. They do lose Dirty Dan, but I don't think it's going to matter. There's a lot of picks are coming through.
Yeah, it was a really aggressive Toast McGoats, which left their backline really open. Virtual Riot, Josh Danko coming in big with the Tracer play, and now he's in the plaza, forces out the Translocator out of Chromatic, and Toast McGoats, a headshot onto Tracer, huge pick from OK, thanks. So it looks like they're able to contest the card still. Under this choke, maybe not. UTech has to get healed here.
Even Pete on the Mercy did find a pick on the Chromatic while this was all breaking out.
Oh!
Ooh. Oh! Wacky Tabaki is a bad man.
Yeah, and that's gonna be point A. Going over to them, looking really healthy. 519 on the time bank. So Toast McGoats, it's really on them to put on the Holden shoes.
Yeah, they've got some big ults available. No, sorry, that's big hack. Wacky is no follow up.
Oh man, yeah, it's sort of a lack of damage when, and it's odd, right? When Toast McGoats is running these like triple DPS competition, it just seems like it's not placed well. Virtual Riot, yeah, he's on the high ground, he's behind OK, thanks. But now he's in a 1v2, he takes out OK, thanks. The SRK not able to avenge his fallen comrade. And Eva Light flies over the top, launches the rocket barrage.
That's some good damage, and that's letting Wacky mop up what's left on the ground as the Mighty Wolf is trying to Moira his way out here. This is just BSRK up on this high ground, getting a nice reflect and able to dash out, I think. But Virtual Riot, he's going in chasing, looking for somebody. And Wacky does get that late pick into BSRK as this cart is still moving. We are one lost fight by Toast McGoats away from this being over, as UTech is going up to try to get out of this high grounds.
Yeah, it's really going to be up to Toast McGoats whether they can stabilize. Chromatic with the 4-man EMP, but once again, it seems to not in place to follow up. Damage is not there. UTech's the only one with him on the cart trying to contest, and they both go down.
Yeah, now this is rough. This is Outman's final fight of the night, and most of the ults not available. Dano does get a chance to the sound barrier, but Dano and BSRK, those were the ults they had a chance to pop in this final fight. Both players going down. Tire coming through from Dirty Dan. It's going to feel like a formality here. Is Wolf and OK Thanks going down. UTech, can you show us your best Wacky Tabaki impression? Or will FDAB shoot the ball? They will.
There's the blade, the last hope blade, but he gets EMP'd. The sad Wii blade swings into nothing.
Okay, thanks. Down. Dano on the Lucio. Stalling on the Scar. Dano down. Utech back to Mighty Wolf down. Utech spinning. Utech not spinning. Utech low health. No health. Chromatic on the cart. Stalling. Not balling. Chromatic dead. BSRK dashes through a minefield and... Okay, thanks. The actual last one is us. Nope, no, we got it. Okay, thanks going down, but Dano on the Diva. Oh, steps off, and that's it. After all of the hard work on the first 2 maps, Dorado is a steamroll by Fine Dining and Breathing to take the 3-0 match win.
Play of the game.
Yeah. Oh, okay, thanks. The sharpshooter play of the game here. Very solid dynamite onto the flying Pharah. Has to run away. Headshot onto the recently Valve Cube and Pete, and a nice kill to finish the pharmacy at the end there. So some good shooting. Yeah, the Wacky Tobacco says in the chats, you guys improved like a shit ton. Those games were close. Couldn't agree more. Some pretty demoralizing defeats though from Totes and Goats in the first 2 maps, and it looks like they just didn't have anything left in the tank for Dorado.
Yeah, unfortunate. But that's going to do it for them. On the next week for both of these teams is FDAB still trying to make their run up for a top 2 seed.
And wait, so is that 4 3-0s in a row?
Yes. They are now 14-1 in the last 5 weeks.
Okay. Okay.
So they've got their 2 big matches remaining still. They still have 50 Cent Club and Dakimakura Death Squad to play in these last 3 weeks, but they have to be feeling all of the momentum. But,
yeah.
That's going to do it for us, guys. So stick around. We'll be back in just a moment as we swap streamers. Dakimakura Death Squad versus Pray and Spray coming up next. So stay tuned.